The constant hum of computers filled the SETI listening station in New Mexico. It was just another quiet night shift until every screen in the facility suddenly lit up with activity. The main computer started blaring an alarm that hadn't been activated in its 30 years of operation. Tom Parker, the night shift supervisor, nearly spilled his coffee as he rushed to the main console. His hands trembled as he read the incoming data. This wasn't the usual cosmic background noise or random stellar emissions. This was a structured message, clearly artificial in origin. "Get Director Wilson on the phone now," he shouted to his colleague, Mike, who was already reaching for the secure line. Within minutes, the small facility transformed from its usual quiet state into a hub of frantic activity. The message kept repeating, broadcasting on multiple frequencies. It wasn't using radio waves, but rather some form of quantum communication that scientists had only theorized about. The signal was impossibly clear, as if someone was broadcasting from just outside Earth's atmosphere, but the source was traced to a point over 300 light-years away. James Miller, Earth's leading expert in theoretical linguistics, arrived at the facility 12 hours later. Dark circles under his eyes betrayed his lack of sleep, but excitement radiated from his face as he began analyzing the transmission. The message wasn't just a simple greeting or mathematical sequence. It was a complete language package, designed to be easily translated. They wanted to make absolutely sure we understood them, James explained to the room full of scientists and military personnel. But there's something strange about the tone. He worked through the night with a team of linguists and code breakers. As the translation became clearer, the excitement in the room slowly transformed into confusion, then concern. "This can't be right," James muttered, running the translation program for the 5th time. The results remained the same. The message read, "To the species of Earth, this is an urgent communication from the Galactic Alliance of Civilizations. We have observed your rapid technological advancement. We beseech you, stop. Remain within your solar system. This is not a threat, but a desperate plea. The stability of thousands of civilizations depends on your cooperation. Please acknowledge." Director Wilson, a tall woman with steel-gray hair, leaned over James's shoulder. "Why would advanced aliens be begging us to stay put? We've barely reached our own moon." James pointed to a section of the decoded data. "Look at these patterns. There's fear in the language structure. Not just concern, genuine fear. They're terrified of something, and that something is us." The next few days saw the message being analyzed by every major scientific institution on Earth. Hidden within the transmission was vast amounts of data about the sending civilization, information they hadn't meant to include. Their quantum communication technology had leaked details about their scientific capabilities, star maps, and even basics of their social structure. World leaders gathered in an emergency United Nations session. The debate raged. Should Earth respond? Should they comply with the request? The very fact that an advanced civilization was afraid of humanity's potential sparked both concern and pride among the delegates. In his small office at the SETI facility, James noticed something that others had missed. He found patterns in the message that suggested the aliens had been watching Earth for centuries. They had observed humanity's exponential growth, their constant innovation, their ability to adapt and overcome challenges that should have destroyed them. "They're not afraid of what we are," James explained to Director Wilson late one night. "They're terrified of what we might become." The director glanced at the latest analysis results on her tablet. "And they just gave us proof that faster-than-light communication is possible. If they're so afraid of our progress, why give us that?" James smiled slightly. "That's what makes this fascinating. The message is like a person trying not to think about something and then immediately thinking about it. In their panic to stop us, they've just handed us the keys to the stars." As James stared at the streams of alien data flowing across his screen, he couldn't help but wonder what humanity possessed that could frighten beings capable of spanning the galaxy. Whatever it was, Earth's quarantine was about to be tested, and nothing would ever be the same again. Dr. Anna West hadn't slept properly in 3 days. Her office at the Global Space Research Center was littered with empty coffee cups and holographic displays showing complex quantum equations. She wasn't supposed to be analyzing the alien message. That was James Miller's job. But something in the transmission's carrier wave had caught her attention. "There it is again," she muttered, watching the pattern repeat. The aliens had used quantum entanglement for their message, but they'd made a crucial mistake. Hidden in the transmission method itself was the complete blueprint for faster-than-light communication. Her hands shook as she reached for her phone. Within an hour, the center's main conference room was packed with the world's leading physicists and engineers. The holographic display showed the decoded patterns floating in the air. "They didn't just show us that FTL travel is possible," Anna explained, pointing to the complex equations. "They accidentally gave us the instruction manual. It's like they were so worried about telling us to stay home, they didn't realize they were drawing us a map to leave." Professor Walker, an old physicist with wild gray hair, leaned forward in his chair. "These equations, they're describing quantum folding of space-time. Good Lord, it's so elegant. We were thinking about it all wrong for decades." The room erupted in excited discussions as more scientists began understanding the implications. The aliens' message had revealed that the barrier between normal space and quantum space was thinner than Earth's scientists had believed. A ship didn't need enormous amounts of energy to break through. It just needed to find the right frequencies. "But there's more," Anna continued, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Look at their energy signatures. Their entire civilization runs on technology that's barely more advanced than what we're developing now. They've had interstellar travel for thousands of years, but they stopped innovating." Security cameras captured the moment of realization spreading across the room. These advanced aliens, despite all their achievements, had reached a plateau. They had found a comfortable level of technology and simply stopped pushing forward. General Harris, representing Earth's defense forces, spoke up from the back of the room. "So they're afraid because we don't stop, because we keep pushing boundaries." "Exactly," Anna replied, pulling up more data. "Their message contains background radiation data from their transmission points. Some of these civilizations have existed for millions of years without significant technological change. Then they look at Earth." She displayed a timeline of human advancement, from stone tools to space travel in the blink of an cosmic eye. The rate of progress was nearly vertical compared to the flat lines of alien advancement. "We're still evolving," Professor Walker whispered, "not just culturally or technologically. We're literally still evolving as a species." "I bet they're not." The implications hit the room like a physical wave. Humanity wasn't just another spacefaring race in waiting. They were something these ancient civilizations had never encountered before. A species that refused to stop growing, changing, pushing forward. Anna worked through the night with a team of engineers, converting the quantum communication principles into practical applications. By morning, they had the basic designs for Earth's first faster-than-light engine. "We could build this within a year," she told the emergency council meeting. "The principles are surprisingly simple once you understand them. It's like they've been using the same model of car for 1,000,000 years, and we're about to reinvent the wheel." The council chamber fell silent. The choice was clear: respect the aliens' wish and remain in the solar system, or take humanity's first real step into the galaxy. Council President Thompson looked at the engine designs floating above the table. "They begged us to stay home because they knew we would change everything. And now, thanks to their own message, we can prove them right." As the council voted unanimously to begin construction of Earth's first FTL ship, Anna couldn't help but smile. The aliens' greatest fear was about to become reality, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. Humanity was coming to the stars, ready or not. The ESS Phoenix hung in Earth's orbit like a silver arrow pointing to the stars. Its quantum drive hummed with power, ready for humanity's first faster-than-light jump. Captain Robert Thompson stood on the bridge, looking at the blue marble of Earth below him. "All systems are ready, Captain," reported his first officer, Lisa Brown. The crew of 20 had trained for months, but nothing could truly prepare them for what they were about to attempt. "Let's make history," Robert said, settling into his command chair. "Start the quantum fold sequence." The ship's AI counted down. When it reached 0, reality itself seemed to bend. Stars streaked past like rain on a windshield, and for a brief moment, everyone on board felt like they were everywhere and nowhere at once. Then, suddenly, they were there. 30 light-years from Earth, in orbit around a star that humans had only seen through telescopes. The bridge crew sat in stunned silence before erupting in cheers. "First jump successful," Lisa announced, her voice steady despite her excitement. "All systems nominal. We're exactly where we planned to be." Robert was about to congratulate his crew when the sensors chimed. "Contact," called out Jack, the sensor operator. "Artificial structure detected. It's huge." A massive space station hung in orbit around the system's third planet. Its design was organic, flowing like coral grown in zero gravity. But something about it seemed old, worn, as if it had been there for thousands of years without significant updates or changes. Before they could investigate further, another alarm sounded. "Second contact," Jack shouted. "Ship approaching at high speed. Definitely alien design." The alien vessel was beautiful, but like the station, seemed somehow outdated. It approached cautiously, then stopped at a safe distance. A communication request came through. "This is Captain Robert Thompson of the Earth ship Phoenix," Robert transmitted, following the first contact protocols they'd developed. The response was immediate and panicked. "Impossible. Your kind was contained. You cannot be here." The alien transmission was perfect English, likely translated by their advanced systems. "We mean no harm," Robert replied calmly. "We're explorers, seeking peaceful contact." There was a long pause. When the alien responded again, their voice shook. You developed quantum fold technology independently, in mere months after our warning." "We had some help," Robert said, allowing a small smile. "Your message was very informative." The alien ship suddenly began to retreat. As it fled, it broadcast on all frequencies, warning to all sectors. "They have broken containment. The humans are free." Over the next few days, the Phoenix explored the system, observing the alien station from a respectful distance. They noticed something striking. Nothing changed. Ships came and went, but they were all the same design. The station never altered, never grew. It was like looking at a photograph frozen in time. "They're afraid of change itself," Lisa realized, watching the sensor feeds. "Look at their ships. They probably haven't updated the design in centuries. They found something that worked and just stopped." Robert nodded slowly. "And then they see us. In the time it took them to send one message, we took their quantum communications technology, improved it, and used it to build something they never imagined, a drive that folds space itself." The Phoenix spent a week in the system, gathering data. They observed alien ships going about their business, following the same trade routes, performing the same tasks over and over. It was efficient, stable, and completely stagnant. Before they jumped back to Earth, Robert recorded one final message to the system's inhabitants. "We understand your fear now. But change isn't your enemy. It's the only way forward. We're not here to destroy what you've built. We're here to help you grow again." As the Phoenix vanished into quantum space, heading home with their discoveries, alerts spread across the galaxy. Humanity had taken their first steps into the stars, and they had no intention of stepping quietly. The age of stagnation was about to end, whether the galaxy's ancient civilizations were ready or not. Dr. Anna West stood before the holographic display in the United Earth Council chamber, showing footage from the Phoenix's mission. Behind her sat representatives from every nation, watching as she revealed what humanity had learned about their galactic neighbors. "Their entire civilization is built on the principle of stability," she explained, showing images of the alien station they'd encountered. They haven't changed their basic technology in over 10,000 years. Not because they can't, but because they won't. She switched to biological scans the Phoenix had secretly gathered. But here's the real discovery. They've engineered their own evolution to stop. Their DNA is completely stable, unchanging from generation to generation. They chose to freeze their own development. The council chamber erupted in murmurs. Ambassador Jones stood up, his face concerned. They chose to stop evolving. Why would any species do that? Fear, Anna replied, pulling up historical data they decoded from the alien transmissions. About 15,000 years ago, their civilization nearly destroyed itself through rapid technological advancement. They survived, but the experience traumatized them. They decided that stability was worth more than progress. The display showed thousands of alien worlds, all following the same pattern. Identical cities, identical ships, identical lives, repeated endlessly across the stars. Perfect stability, perfect stagnation. Then they found us, Anna continued, switching to images of Earth's development. In the time they've been watching us, we've gone from horse-drawn carriages to quantum physics. Our technology evolves, our culture evolves, and most importantly, we evolve. We're the only known species that still does. She displayed a genetic comparison. Human DNA showed constant micro-mutations, adaptations, changes. The alien DNA was perfectly preserved, like an insect in amber. They're not just afraid of our technology, Anna explained. They're afraid of what we represent. Change itself. The chaos of growth. The uncertainty of evolution. Everything they gave up to feel safe. Professor Walker, who had been studying the alien data, stepped forward. We found references to other young species they've contained before. Every time they find a developing civilization, they try to isolate it before it can disrupt their perfect stability. But they've never seen anything like us, Anna added. Most species take millions of years to develop space travel. We did it in decades. We adapt faster, think differently, solve problems in ways they've forgotten were possible. The council watched as she showed more data from the Phoenix's mission. Alien ships following the same trade routes they used for millennia. Cities that hadn't changed their layout in centuries. A civilization so afraid of losing what they had, they'd stopped reaching for anything more. They called themselves the Galactic Alliance. Anna said, but a better name would be the Galactic Preservation Society. They're not building a future, they're maintaining a museum. A younger council member raised her hand. Can we help them? Show them there's nothing to fear from change. Anna smiled. That's the interesting part. We've detected transmissions from younger aliens within their society. They're watching us. Some are even trying to copy us, making small changes to their ships, their homes, their lives. We're already affecting them, just by existing. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just broken free of their solar system. They'd broken into a galaxy desperately in need of what they represented. We have a choice to make, Anna concluded. We can respect their wish for stability and isolation, or we can show them what they've been missing. The galaxy is filled with species who chose safety over growth. We might be the only ones left who can remind them that the greatest safety lies in the ability to change. As the council began their deliberations, Anna looked at the image of the alien station one last time. Its perfect, unchanging design seemed less beautiful now, more tragic, like a butterfly that had chosen to crawl back into its cocoon, forgetting it ever had wings. The galaxy had begged humanity to stay home because they knew what would happen when humans arrived. Now that prediction was coming true, but not in the way they'd feared. Change was coming to the stars, carried on ships built by the one species that had never stopped dreaming of tomorrow. The Great Hall of the Galactic Alliance was a perfect sphere, unchanged for 10,000 years. Today, it held representatives from over 1,000 alien civilizations, all gathered to address what they called the human problem. In the center of the hall, Earth's ambassador Mary Cooper stood alone, Facing the assembled council, the High Speaker, a tall being with crystalline features, addressed the chamber. The humans have ignored our warning. They have spread to 12 star systems in just 6 months. They build differently at each location, experiment with new technologies, and worst of all, they inspire change in our youth. Mary studied the assembled aliens. Despite representing different species, their clothing and mannerisms were nearly identical, as if they'd all agreed on the right way to be civilized thousands of years ago. "You speak of our crimes," Mary said, her voice clear and strong. "Let me show you our achievements instead." She activated a holographic display, showing the 12 human colonies. Each was unique, adapted to its environment in innovative ways. On Kepler 2, we developed floating cities to survive the high gravity. On Wolf 359, we built underground to escape the radiation. Each challenge forced us to adapt, to grow, to become more than we were. The chamber erupted in concerned whispers. The very concept of adapting to planets, rather than choosing perfectly suitable ones, seemed to disturb them. "And what of the chaos you bring?" demanded a counselor. "Our young ones question our ways. They modify their ships, alter their homes, speak of progress and innovation. You corrupt them with these dangerous ideas." Mary smiled. "Is it corruption to remember how to dream? Your own histories speak of great innovations, of mighty deeds and incredible achievements. When did you decide that the past was enough? When did you choose to stop reaching for the stars?" She displayed images of young aliens from various species, making changes to their worlds. Small changes, a new design for a vehicle, a different way of growing food, a more efficient power system. They're not copying us. They're remembering who they used to be. Explorers, innovators, dreamers. The High Speaker raised a hand for silence. "You don't understand. Before the Great Stability, our civilizations nearly destroyed themselves through unchecked progress. Our current state is not stagnation. It is salvation." "No," Mary countered, her voice gentle but firm. "It's surrender. You survived that crisis not because you were stable, but because you were able to change and adapt. Then you forgot that lesson and chose to never adapt again." She walked the circle of the chamber, meeting the eyes of each council member. "You fear change because it brings risk. But no risk is greater than the risk of standing still while the universe moves around you. You're not preserving civilization. You're letting it decay." A younger counselor stood up. "The human speaks truth. I have studied their colonies. They fail often, but each failure teaches them. They grow stronger not despite their mistakes, but because of them." More voices joined in, mostly from younger representatives. The chamber divided between those who feared humanity's influence and those who had begun to see the value in change. The High Speaker raised both hands, restoring order. "What would you have us do, human? Abandon 10,000 years of peace and stability?" Mary shook her head. "No, we ask you to remember that true stability comes from the ability to adapt, not the refusal to change. We offer you partnership, not replacement. Let us show you how to grow again, safely and wisely." She displayed one final image, a human colony where aliens had begun to settle, working alongside humans, learning and teaching in equal measure. "This is our gift to the galaxy. Not chaos, but choice. Not destruction, but growth. We didn't come to end your civilization. We came to help it live again." The chamber fell silent. In that silence, 10,000 years of carefully maintained stability faced its greatest challenge, the possibility that it was time to move forward again. The vote that followed would change the galaxy forever, but the outcome was already clear in the eyes of the younger aliens. Change had come to the stars, wearing a human face, and this time, not even the Galactic Alliance could hold it back. 6 months after the Galactic Council meeting, the changes spreading through alien civilizations were impossible to ignore. On the trading station orbiting Proxima Beta, John Peters, Earth's cultural attaché, watched as young aliens transformed their society one small step at a time. They're modifying their food synthesizers again, his alien assistant, Blue, pointed out. Unlike the older generation who used numerical designations, younger aliens have begun choosing unique names. They're combining flavors from different worlds. The elders say it's unnecessary. We have perfectly good traditional recipes. John watched as a group of young aliens eagerly sampled their new creations. But unnecessary things often bring the most joy, don't they? Blue's skin shifted colors, a sign of agreement that would have been suppressed in formal company just months ago. Like the art markets, we never had those before. Art was for historical preservation, not experimentation. The station's central plaza had transformed. Where once there were only identical shops selling identical goods, now there were spots of chaos and creativity. Young aliens displayed paintings, sculptures, and interactive holograms that combined their ancient techniques with new ideas. But not everyone welcomed these changes. A group of elder aliens passed by, their expressions showing clear disapproval. They weren't alone. Conservative factions throughout the galaxy were trying to stop what they called the human infection. 3 trading posts have banned human ships, Blue reported, checking the latest news. They say they're protecting their cultural heritage. John nodded thoughtfully. Change is scary, especially when it happens quickly. But look there. He pointed to a shop where an elder alien was reluctantly trying a new food variety, their face showing surprise at enjoying it. You can't stop ideas once they start spreading. The biggest changes weren't in technology or art, but in thinking. Young aliens have begun asking why and what if, questions that had been discouraged for millennia. They started small businesses, modified their living spaces, and most shockingly to their elders, began forming relationships across species lines. The Council of Preservation is meeting again, Blue said, showing John the announcement. They want to establish quarantine zones around culturally pure sectors. Will it work? John asked, already knowing the answer. Blue's skin rippled with amusement. They're using modified human communication technology to coordinate their anti-human movement. They don't even see the irony. Throughout the station, signs of change were everywhere. Alien ships sported individual paint schemes instead of standardized markings. Homes displayed personal decorations. Young ones chose different careers than their parents, another radical departure from tradition. But the most significant change was in how the younger aliens carried themselves. They stood straighter, moved more freely, spoke more openly. The crushing weight of 10,000 years of proper behavior was lifting from their shoulders. My parent called yesterday, Blue said quietly. They said I'm throwing away generations of stability for human chaos. Their skin darkened with emotion. I told them I'm not throwing anything away. I'm building something new while keeping what's valuable from the old. John watched as a mixed group of young aliens and humans worked together, installing a new type of atmospheric processor that combined human innovation with alien efficiency. That's what your elders don't understand. Change doesn't have to mean destroying the past. It means building a better future. A commotion near the station's dock drew their attention. Another elder alien group was protesting the arrival of a human trade ship. But even as they protested, their children were quietly trading with the humans through back channels and hidden networks. They can't stop it, can they? Blue asked, watching the scene. John shook his head. Ideas are like water. They flow around barriers, find new paths, shape everything they touch. Your people spent 10,000 years trying to dam the river of progress. We just showed you it's safer to learn to swim. As they watched, more young aliens joined the traders, ignoring the protesters. The revolution wasn't happening with weapons or violence, but with art, food, music, and most importantly, dreams. The galaxy was remembering how to imagine a different tomorrow, and no amount of tradition could stop that awakening. The old order was crumbling, not with a bang, but with a symphony of small changes, each one a note in the music of revolution. 5 years after humanity's first contact, the Galactic Alliance had transformed beyond recognition. The massive meeting hall, once a symbol of unchanging stability, now featured a blend of classic architecture and modern innovations. Ambassador Mary Cooper stood at its center again, but this time she wasn't alone. Beside her stood representatives of the new generation, young aliens who had embraced change while honoring their heritage. The old High Speaker had retired, replaced by a council that included both traditional leaders and progressive voices. "Look at what we've built together," Mary said, displaying a hologram of the galaxy. Bright points of light showed where human and alien cultures had merged, creating something entirely new. The changes went far beyond technology. Species that had been frozen in development for millennia were evolving again, not through engineering but through natural adaptation. Their fear of change had been holding back not just their cultures, but their very biology. "The latest reports from the outer systems are remarkable," reported Dr. West, now head of xenobiology studies. "We're seeing natural genetic drift in populations for the first time in thousands of years. They're not just accepting change. Their bodies are remembering how to change." The medical breakthrough had come when human doctors worked with alien healers, combining Earth's understanding of evolution with alien biotechnology. The result was a galaxy slowly awakening from a self-imposed evolutionary slumber. "Our ancestors were wrong," declared First Speaker Blue, their skin shimmering with new patterns that would have been suppressed years ago. "They thought stability meant remaining the same forever. True stability comes from being strong enough to adapt." The evidence was everywhere. Alien ships now showed diverse designs, combining their species' traditional engineering with new innovations. Cities that hadn't changed in millennia now grew and evolved to meet new needs. Art, music, and literature flourished as cultural barriers broke down. But perhaps the most profound change was in education. Young aliens were taught not just their history, but how to question it, how to build upon it. Schools that once focused on preserving the past now helped students imagine the future. "There are still challenges," Mary admitted, showing areas of the galaxy that remained isolated, clinging to the old ways. "Some fear change so deeply that they've cut themselves off completely." "They'll join us when they're ready," Blue responded. "We were all afraid once. Humans didn't force us to change. You showed us it was safe to change ourselves." The gallery erupted in appreciative murmurs. The feared human infection had turned out to be more like a cure for a disease no one knew they had, the disease of fear itself. Professor Walker, now elderly but still sharp, presented the latest scientific achievements. Humans and aliens working together had made more progress in 5 years than the Alliance had made in the previous 1,000. Each discovery built on the strengths of both cultures. Human creativity with alien precision, Earth's adaptability with the Alliance's stability. "We stand at a new dawn," Mary concluded, "not just for humanity, not just for the Alliance, but for life itself. We've proven that growth and stability aren't opposites, they're partners in the dance of existence." As if to emphasize her point, a group of children, human and alien together, entered the chamber. They moved with the confidence of those who had never known the paralyzing fear of change that had gripped their parents' generation. To them, the galaxy was not a museum to be preserved, but a frontier to be explored. The old warning message that had started everything still circulated in historical archives. "Beware the humans. They will change everything." But now it was viewed not as a warning, but as a prophecy of hope. The galaxy had indeed changed everything. Species that had been separate for millions of years now worked together. Worlds that had been locked in stasis now buzzed with activity. And in the great dance of civilization, humanity had shown that the step forward was nothing to fear. As the assembly ended, Mary looked out at the stars through the hall's crystal dome. Somewhere out there, other young civilizations were taking their first steps into space. When they arrived, they would find not a stagnant empire of fear, but a thriving community of cultures, ready to welcome them into the endless adventure of growth and change. The galaxy had begged humanity to stay home. Instead, humanity had helped the galaxy remember the way back to its own heart.